Good evening, enlightened women. Good evening, good evening. Hello, hello. How you doing? How you been? How you feeling? What's going on? It is Monday, y'all. It's Monday, it's Monday. And since it's Monday, we know what that means, right? It's time for Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings on this first Monday in February, a brand new month. Can you believe it? We made it through the first month of a brand new year, and here we are in the second month of 2023. How y'all feeling? How was January? If you missed the last Mondays in the meditation room, I know we missed it on Monday. Something happened with the scheduling, but that next day we came back and gave us the opportunity to reflect and reset for this month. If you haven't done it yet, it's still not too late. So go back, listen to it, and go through that meditation. Take some moments to get ready to move forward into a brand new month full of opportunities, full of chances for transformation and changing, and to continue your journey to evolve. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K, where you will find what all things enlightenment and empowerment for Black women in midlife. And what I've added is and beyond. Yeah, this is where you find that sacred and safe place where your tribe is, where we are redefining midlife. It's not just chaos, right? It is a rebirth, a reimagining, a redefining of our lives and who we are in this moment, in this most significant season of our lives. And what is midlife, you might ask? Textbooks, they say it could be anywhere from 35 now, which is an extension, because it used to say 40, 45 on up to 60 or 65. It's that season in your life, that rite of passage season in your life where, especially for women, your body is changing, your mind, your spirit, everything is happening to prepare you for another season in your life when you are prioritizing you. Yes, I love it. Don't you love it when you are prioritizing you? We're a whole nother level of freedom and confidence, and adventure is a part of who you are. So, welcome. This space is created for us to talk about, reason together, have those courageous conversations about what it means to be who we are in this season of our life, and to acknowledge that you are not alone. You are not losing your mind because of all the changes that are happening in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, where you are questioning everything and wondering and even lamenting over what has happened. And sometimes it can create fear for where you're going. But what I love about this season is also textbook. They say this is the season where women are literally coming into their own. They are acknowledging their strength and their power, their independence, and more so, even interdependent, not codependent on others, where they are willing to find and use their voice and to go after. Sometimes this is the best life where women really soar in their careers, right? And in making a choice to do those things that creates the most joy for them. How about you? What do you feel like midlife? Maybe you need to create your own definition of what midlife is and what it means to you. That's what it means to be in midlife, that you get to define it, redefine it for yourself. Yes. Oh man. I'm so excited about it. And I think I was just saying the other day when we did the Minnow Lounge, which was phenomenal. It was our second Minnow Lounge. The first one we did back in October of 2022 in honor of World Menopause Day during World Menopause Awareness Month. And it was called A Night of Joy. It was just celebrating who we are and who we are becoming, because there's so much about our lives maybe that could cause angst, or we have a hard time finding something to be happy and joyous about. We may be going through so many transitions in our lives, the people around us, things that are orbiting us is making our peace difficult. But we wanted to create a night for us to focus in on those things that we have a reason to be joyful about in the company of one another. So, of course, we had some great desserts. I'm starting with that. Yeah. We had some great desserts, great company. We meditated. We asked and answered questions. We shared with one another. We had an amazing sound healing session with Dr. Vicki Johnson and danced a little bit and just had a good time and realized we needed more of that. So we just did it again this past Friday, February the 3rd, kicking off Black History Month and what I like to call Love Awareness Month. We did another Menno Lounge, Menno being short for menopause. That is the season that many of us are in midlife. Either it's perimenopause leading up to menopause, which is actually the transition of your body and the lowering and diminishing of the hormone estrogen, which is the culprit that causes all of the things that's happening to our spirit, mind, and body. Menopause is the actual day. No, I like to call her the resident doctor of enlightened woman. Dr. Sharon Adi just reminds us that menopause really happens in one day. You perimenopausal, meaning you're feeling those symptoms prior to that one day or moment when you acknowledge or realize that you've gone 12 months consecutively without a cycle, and then you are in menopause. That's menopause. Menopause happens one day. So you're perimenopausal, menopausal, then postmenopausal, right? When it's done, kaput, finish, it's over. And then, of course, it's different for different women because you may have been um, kind of into early menopausal. It could have been for surgery, medication, hysterectomies, all of the above that may have put you into it. But if you still had your ovaries, you're still dealing with those hormonal fluctuations. And so it may be different for everyone, but when we call it the Minnow Lounge, that just is a play on the word that we're somewhere around that pause, peri, minnow, post. But I call it the lounge because it's the place for us to chill and relax and have some fun. And so this past weekend, we did a night of self love. What a way to kick off Love Awareness Month, right? So awesome. So we were so wonderfully hosted in the space of Spiritual Essence Yoga and Wellness Center in Upper Marlboro, where the founder and owner is the wonderful Dana A. Smith. And she led us into some gentle yoga movements, some self love meditations, and affirming us as we did it. All body types were able to do what she was leading us through. And then we ended it with some chocolate things. That's what I just like to call it. Just woo, those chocolate things were amazing. Thank you, Donica, from Donica's Sweet Treats. Y'all, we had brownies and we had these mousse cups and we had this layered chocolate cake that was so moist, right? And I didn't get a chance to taste everything, but can I tell you, I brought some stuff home, and literally today was the first time I had that heart shaped thing. Did anybody get that heart shaped thing with the white creamy stuff in it and the raspberry stuff and then the red velvet red velvet cake in it? Okay. Woo. Anyway, it was awesome. We had an amazing time. So thank you everybody who registered came. And I'm so sorry for those who registered and then life happened and you weren't able to make it. I'm looking forward to doing something like that again. Hit me up in the comments, y'all, whether y'all watching on YouTube or on the Enlightened Woman Facebook page or in the Enlightened Woman private Facebook group. Just give me some comments. Say hey, let me know you're here with me. Even if you're watching the replay, when you watch the replay, go ahead and comment because we see those as well. And then the tribe gets to see it throughout the week and the months to come. So thank you. The Mental Lounge was so much fun, so amazing. And we're going to do it again. And looking forward to some ideas. Shoot me some ideas. What can we do for the Minnow Lounge? And it doesn't have to be in. We can go out somewhere, especially as the weather is getting ready to break soon. Just having some fun. Yes. And so I just want to talk to you this month for the month of February. If you didn't see it in the notes, a Black woman's self love series, a Black woman's self love series. That's what we're talking about in the meditation room for this month. And tonight, I just want to just have a conversation under this topic: love your genius. Your mind is divine. Love your genius. Your mind is divine. And I first started thinking about this 2022. Um, I don't know if it was spring or going into summer. I was participating in Girl Track, which is an amazing health movement started by two sisters, getting women to move, just to get out and to walk, walk, and you could listen to the podcast while you walked, and they had different topics. I mean, the education with Girl Track during those 21-day challenges of walking every day, and they had a different topic, and they would cover different things throughout, and they did a series. I can't remember the exact title of this particular one, but they were covering Nina Simone, who was one of my favorites, Nina Simone. And they were just talking about things that most of us didn't know about her life, about her gifting, and her desire to be a classical pianist, and how um, people wouldn't recognize it in her and would shut doors, and um, the relationships that she was in that were not always very helpful or affirming to her gifting. And she had a breakdown at some point in her life. Um, but she was a genius. And as I was listening to that, I tucked it away in my heart to talk about um, Black women protecting their genius. And it evolved to what we're talking about on tonight: to love your genius, for your mind is divine, in this Black woman self love series. And I know that when we think about genius, we always think about a person's IQ and how high their IQ is. That means they have extraordinary intellectual ability or prowess. But I want to challenge us to expand that definition of genius. And we're going to get to it in a moment. the expanded version, or I would like to say, Dr. K's definition of genius, even as I went through the Merriam Webster dictionary as well. But I want to start with asking us these questions. Can I tell you, questions are genius because questions make you think about things that you wouldn't normally think about. And as a certified life coach, a certified executive leadership coach, um, one of the things we learn is when you are helping someone to grow and to evolve, you need to ask the right questions. You need to ask the questions that make them go within, because coaches are really just persons who are called alongside individuals so that they will release and or acknowledge and find their own genius, their own answers to their challenges. Because the truth is, the answers that you need for your life really lie within you. Our challenges, and this is not to say we don't need therapy, because even that's what therapy is. It asks questions of you. It doesn't mean that we don't need counseling sometimes or wisdom from others. But if people are really wise, they will help you get to what lies already on the inside of you. Yes, so good. And so when I put the title and the description and everything for it tonight, um, I started with some questions because we're talking about loving your genius. Your mind is divine. And the first question was, when did you begin to dull your shine? Now, here, if all of this is not for you, it could be for somebody else. If it's not for you for this particular season in your life, I guarantee you at some point, some season in your life, these questions are going to matter to you. When did you begin to dull your shine? And I'm asking that because I have background in research and study as it relates to girls of all colors, Black women in particular, that at a very early age, um, and initially they say between the ages of 8 and 9, but I would venture to say that it's even younger, between 5 or 6, that girls are somehow conditioned to believe that they need others' approval and acceptance to walk fully in who they are, that they are not enough by themselves, but that they need other people's approval or opinions to matter to them, and they begin to shift. And when I say shift, for even for girls, they downshift. They don't shift up, but they downshift. They hide and they dull their shine, because all children, and in particular as I watch them, as I have raised 2 daughters, and now we have 2 granddaughters, they are very bold, courageous, fearless, right? They have a sense of themselves. They want to perform and do certain things. When I say perform, I don't mean perform to get attention. I mean, they like to use their creativity and say, hey, watch this. When they're with us, we hear it no less than 20 times. Gigi, look at this. Gigi, watch me. Babu, watch me. And then they begin to do their whole show. But when girls get a little bit older, they are told that you need to quiet down, you need to be ladylike, you need to act a certain way, you need to maneuver yourself a certain way, you should dress a certain way, you shouldn't be too loud, you shouldn't be too boisterous, you shouldn't try to tell people what to do because then you're labeled as bossy. Not she has great leadership ability, but you're too bossy, you're too aggressive, you're too. That happens at a very early age. And then it conditions girls to want to be liked. So in order to be liked, they will go along with things, they would do things that in their spirit they know is not um, good for them. It goes against who they really are. They may not even like it. It might not be important or priority or gives them joy, but they'll go ahead and do it anyway against their better judgment, because we have that. We're born with that intuition, that judgment, that discernment, but we quiet it down. We quiet those voices down because we prefer the voices outside of us. And so that's the question. Can you pinpoint, when did you begin to dull your shine? Here's another one. When did you begin to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's definition of you? Woo! When did you begin to shrink yourself to fit someone else's definition of you? Who you're supposed to be as a woman, who you're supposed to be as a wife, who you're supposed to be as a sibling, a sister, or a niece, as a student, or someone who's a lady. Who? When did you begin to shrink yourself to fit into a box that was created by someone else's definition of you? Hmm. Or how long did you stay in a relationship or a friendship that required you to pretend that you didn't know what you knew? Wow. Wow. And there's a whole lot more questions, but let's stay there, because somewhere along the line, all of us can relate to those questions, right? Man, whether we were a girl, you can remember when a teacher said to you, sit down, don't do that, girls don't do that. Or even as a teenager, what's wrong with your hair? You need to do something else with your hair. Boys not gonna like you if you wear your hair like that. Or boys not gonna like you unless you dress a certain way. Or boys aren't gonna like you if you too smart, or you seem to know more than them. Yeah, you can tell me your own story. You can share with us in the chat your own story. What is it? What do you remember in your spirit that happened? Right? Did you have a bad heartbreak? A bad bust up with a friend, and so you decided that you weren't gonna open your heart anymore, or it must have been something wrong with you, not the other person, but it had to be you, right? We begin to make those decisions internally, right? To fit in, to be accepted, to be loved, to be okay with who the world says we're supposed to be. And can I tell you, it doesn't have to even be a long time ago. Sometimes, even as good grown behind women, we still do that or begin to do that because we're trying to succeed in a particular area, or we're trying to gain traction in the things that we want to do. And so we think we need to be something other than who we are to be something we think we need to be, because we see somebody else being that. So we think that's what it's going to take for us to be happy. Huh, right. Sometimes, even when we're even gooder and growner, right? It is no age limit on that behavior, because we were all, as human beings, made to be in relationship, whatever that relationship is. And so we tend to do whatever we need to do to make that work. Now, I'm not talking about when you're in a mutual relationship and there's give and take and some changes you need to make because they may not be healthy for you or the other person. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what I'm talking about. As I said what I said. Y'all know what I mean, right? So that might be the case. We may have found ourselves there, and midlife is the time, the season, and the place when you hit that transition 45, 50, 55, 60. You cross a barrier over and over again where you continue to want to release all of those layers of those decisions that we've made in the past. We let go because we are on a journey to go inward, to find ourselves and remember who we really are. Mm, that initial genius that God made us, who God made us to be. And so then what do? We find ourselves at a crossroad. We find ourselves at a place where we're going to pivot, that we have to make a decision. Am I going to stay on this road of inauthenticity, or am I going to be brave and courageous because the pain that is going to take? We talked about this a while back, y'all. The pain, you choose your pain. You're going to stay there and be in pain, or choose the pain that is going to inevitably happen when you decide to make a change. But guess what? That pain doesn't last, right? So when we begin to ask those questions, and those questions are important for us to ask so that we can reflect. And then here's the question: how do we unlearn the habit of unloving our genius? Woo! How do we unlearn the habit of unloving our genius? Because that's what happens in midlife too. You begin to unlearn those thought patterns, those thought constructs, those mind constructs, those behaviors that have been dangerous for us, that have been um, unaffirming for us, that have not um, allowed us to have peace and joy in embracing who we are. There are things we have to unlearn this season, primarily for me. I don't know for you, just, come on, put some comments in there that I am doing more unlearning, right? I'm unlearning and I'm embracing. Unlearning and embracing. So, how do you unlearn the habits of unlearning your genius? Whew. One of the quotes that I read, because this is Black History Month, let's talk about it. It has been attributed to her. I don't have a way to find out for sure. I could, but this quote by Angela Davis, it says, "I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept." Let me say it again. I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. And that's what happens. Where is your line in the sand? Where is the place that you're no longer willing to go, or the things you're no longer willing to tolerate? What are the things in midlife, in this new season, in this rite of passage that you are no longer willing to accept? Phew. Man, y'all, so good. This is so good. Why is this important? Because here is the working definition I want us to work with about genius. Listen, it says genius is a peculiar, distinctive, or identifying character or spirit. That means your genius, your specific, unique genius, it's peculiar to you. It's distinctive, that thing that sets you apart and makes you different. Come on. Or identifying thing, that thing that they say, oh, that's so and so. Yes. That you can say to yourself, that identifying character or spirit within you that is your genius. Woo, don't you love it? Don't you love it? And we're talking about loving your genius, loving your peculiarness, your thing that sets you apart, that makes you different, your distinctive, come on, identifying character or spirit. That thing that makes you who God created you to be, that unique thumbprint, heart print, God print that's in you, that's who you are. Love your genius. That means, come on, y'all, that's a whole level of unlearning, right? And getting out from that conditioning that says you need to be like somebody else or that you're not good enough as you are. With God, the creator of the universe. I mean, did y'all see that moon tonight? The one who created that moon and set it up in the sky is the same one that gave you your unique genius. When are you and I going to learn to love our genius and not let the world kill it and snatch it from us? And guess what? No matter how much stuff has been piled on top of your unique genius, it's still there. The work of the Black woman in midlife in this season is to learn how to begin to dig that stuff up, remove it, get it out, right? So that your unique genius comes back to the surface and you, come on, celebrate her. Woo! I got to put my glasses on so I can, because, I'm excited. It's 8:31, but I'm gonna have to get off real soon because we get ready to sign on because my husband and I are in the midst of our 14-day bliss boost that we are doing for couples. Okay, so I'm gonna close it out. We might have to have a part two. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you, Anne. Yes, it was Angela Davis. Never heard it, but wow. Yes, but ain't that powerful? Yes. So I'm gonna run down them real quick, and we might have to do a part two next week as I already outlined what we're going to talk about this month. But, hey, I go with the flow, right? So then, how do we unlearn the habit of unlearning our genius? One, we acknowledge that that might be the case for us. Acknowledging it. Knowledge is half the battle because once you know that thing that has been holding you back, that heaviness you felt, that thing that makes you feel like you're not moving forward, you're not receiving, you're not doing, you're not accomplishing, that there's something just in there. That says I feel bound. I feel like the carrot is right there, but I can never reach it, or my hands feel tied. That I'm dealing with some handicap. That sometimes that handicap is not other people. It is the fact that we have stopped loving or acknowledging or knowing our own genius. Ah, wow. And Yana Banzette said this: your willingness to look at your darkness is what empowers you to change. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna fall out this chair. And man, I did a teaching not too long ago for our leaders about embracing both your shadow and your shine. We have to be able to look at all of who we are, embrace it, change it, deal with it, accept it, because that's who we are. So acknowledge, right, that I may have not been loving my own genius. May not have known that my mind is divine, right? So acknowledge it. Two, identify the lie. Where was the lie planted in your psyche that made you think you were not genius, that you didn't have genius, that you didn't have anything to offer the world? Where was that lie? And we have to know the truth. John 10:10 tells us that the thief comes only but to steal, to kill, and destroy, but that I have come to give you life and life more abundantly. Some translation says to give you life to its full or to the fullness. Some of us have been living have full lives. We think that God is only concerned about whether we go to church or not, whether we know the Bible, whether we know scriptures, or whether we don't ever mess up. That is a minimized life. God called us to live a maximized life to the full. So identify the lie. Who told you that you were too loud, you were too aggressive, that you talk too much? Uh, mm-mm. That's why I love this affirmation artist, Tony Jones. She has a song called Take Up Space, Sis. I hype me up. Okay, that's a whole nother thing. Take up spaces. And if you are too much for some people, then that means they are too little for you. They're the wrong people. All right. Acknowledge, identify the lie, right? And turn it over its head, get it out, say that's no longer the truth I live by. So learn then the truth that the enemy will constantly come to take away from you. So if the relationships you're in, the job that you're doing, the whatever it is, if it's constantly always sucking the life out of you, sucking the passion out of your life, then that's not it. If God came through Jesus to give us life in fullness, a holistic life, shalom, well-being in every area of our life, that's the truth. So learn that truth and then commit to it. 4, take back your power. People only have as much power over your life, your mind, your spirit, and your well being as you give them. So take it back. 5, trust your genius. Ah, trust your unique authenticity, your unique footprint, God print in the earth. Trust that God knew what God was doing, right? Here's what Angela Bassett says: don't settle for average. Bring your best to the moment. Then, whether it fails or succeeds, at least you know you gave all you had. We need to live the best that's in us. Because when people condition us that we're not enough, we shrink, we push back, we don't want to try nothing. We're afraid to do it because we're afraid that we're going to be a failure. Not just fail, but we are a failure. We're afraid of all of that. And God is saying, step outside of that lie, walk in the truth of the fullness of who you are, and love your genius and trust your genius. Trust the voice of God in you. Embrace her and love her. Yes. Oh, God. Oh, man. Y'all, this was so much fun for me. This was so good. I'm going to have to watch this again, my damn self. Woo. Woo! I love it, y'all. This is a Black woman self love series. Tonight was Love Your Genius. Your mind is divine. And whether we do a part 2 or not, to kind of unpack those 5 things that we need to do to unlearn the habit of unloving our genius, we might do that, right? Because the rest of the month is going to be love your little girl, embrace freedom, love your body, a sacred vessel, and love you, YOU, your ordained uniqueness. Oh, man. So excited. Thank y'all for joining me, hanging out with me in the meditation room. Oh, man. Look for more information for our next exciting outing in the Minnow Lounge, and save the date, September 23, the Serenity Experience 2023, Well Worthy and Wealthy is coming your way, September 23rd. Save the date. And come on, make it a point to meet me in the meditation room. If you have not yet purchased your copy of The Enlightened Woman, Inspiration and Reflections to Rediscover the Joy of Being You in Midlife and Beyond, don't deprive your genius of it. It's just going to help you along the way and ask those questions and help you discover the truth of who you are. Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you for joining me in the room, and take the time to rediscover the joy of being you. All right, y'all. Share it with somebody else. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube, follow, and make sure you put that announcement notification bell on so you'll know every time we're in the room. All right, let me see. I like to go out with our theme music so I could do a little body roll. It just blesses me. What can I say? What can I say? It's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. And all that we do right here in the meditation room is a whole vibe. All right. Love y'all. See you soon. Yay. I don't know if I can find it. Might not find it. There it is.
Connected to iPhone 6.8 and Kelly's iPad Air 2020.
All right. Woo! Love y'all. See you soon. I'll check out the comments on the Facebook page or YouTube. Watch the replay if you missed it, and we'll see you next Monday.